Welcome to Wiki Bros. I'm Justin.
This is Kyle.
And this is a show with a couple of guys exploring various Wikipedia articles. So, Kyle, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
If you were to come up with a list to talk about on a podcast, what would your list be?
I don't know what it would be, but I can tell you what it wouldn't be.
What's that?
It would not be a list of inventors killed by their own inventions, because that was the worst list I've ever went through in my entire life. It was very underwhelming.
Who came up with that list?
Names aren't important. I was given a very unreliable source, apparently, about articles that would be interesting to review on Facebook. I'm not going to mention a website because I don't want to run anybody down, but it was terrible.
Oh, okay. Well,
I mean, other than the guy jumping out of the barrel in the barrel, or the parachute guy.
Space taxi.
You're really big on the space taxi. I feel like we almost need to do a full one just on the space taxi guy, just for you.
Yeah.
But not everybody can be a blue horse statue, I guess.
Well, today I am going to do a list on FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives.
I mean, you would think that has to be better than the other one.
I believe there's no way it can't be better than that.
That's fair.
All right. So the list arose from a conversation held in late 1949 between J. Edgar Hoover and William Kinsey Hutchinson, who was the editor-in-chief of International News Service. They were discussing ways to promote capture of the FBI's toughest guys. The discussion turned into a published article, which received so much positive publicity that on March 14th, 1950, the FBI officially announced the list to increase law enforcement's ability to capture dangerous fugitives. The first person added to the list was Thomas J. Holden, a robber and member of the Holden-Keaton gang. And, they've continued on.
Yeah, I still think today.
Yeah, there's been quite a few individuals on there. Individuals that are generally only removed from the list if they are captured.
Just goes to show you how important making a list is. Apparently, the cops can only catch people if they're on a list.
If they're on the list.
Yeah.
It helps.
No offense to my cop friends.
It helps. It gets it out there. Gets people's pictures out there. Same way with, America's Most Wanted, right?
Yeah, same concept.
Yeah, right. But they're only removed from the list if they...
Oh, wait. So this is not America's Most Wanted?
Well, America's Most Wanted, I think, was just...
Don't they use the people on the FBI fugitive list?
No, I think they just made a list of people who were wanted.
See, now we're getting too many lists.
Hey, the lists are good.
Yeah, but if you got... Now the cops are confused. They got two lists to go off of.
We can't hunt for this guy because...
Yeah, he's not on the other list. Like, what if he's on... It's like having, your credit report come back and you got, like, a report on one.
You've got two different lists.
Yeah, you don't know who to go to. Two lists.
Yeah, go to whichever one's better. That's what I say.
Which one would that be? Would you give more stock in the FBI 10 Most Wanted Fugitives list or America's Most Wanted?
FBI's. America's Most Wanted, they're trying to get ratings.
I mean... That's fair. I didn't even know there was I thought the America's Most Wanted was the FBI list, so that's news to me in itself.
Yeah, no, there's not that many people. America's Most Wanted ran way too many people. They covered more people.
That's a good point. That's a good point. You got to start going down the list at some point. Okay, we're out of the top 100 guys. We're going to have to start getting desperate. This week it's Steve who stole his neighbor's cat.
Yes.
Okay, so let's bring this guy to justice. I mean, some of the stuff I've seen, they're like trying to hang people up on Netflix for like random things now.
What are you talking about?
I saw some I don't know, there's all these documentaries that are popping up, and they're like, this guy used to harass people in the 90s with videos, and now they're making like documentaries on these people trying to get them arrested.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, well, okay, you're just trying to get ratings now.
Right.
You're clearly not going to get this man arrested. So
yeah, I really enjoy documentaries
if they're done well.
But some of these are, they're not that great. Anyway, the FBI list. So the individuals are generally only removed from the list if they are captured, they die, or if charges against them are dropped.
So then, what if somebody else more wanted comes on? So now we're over the 10 limit? Because it says FBI 10 most wanted fugitives.
But they are replaced when one of the other ones die or are captured, right? They're replaced by a new entry. And sometimes they will add an 11th, like, to their list. Like, if they think that another person is, extremely dangerous, or, they can't replace one of the top 10, so they put it in there. It says in 11 cases, the FBI removed individuals from the list after deciding that they were no longer a particularly dangerous menace to society. There was a member, Victor Manuel Garina, who was added to the list in 84. He was on the list for 32 years, which was longer than anyone else.
I'm kind of curious if they caught him or if he died.
I don't know. I think we'll get to it in 1984. Billy Austin Bryant spent the shortest amount of time on the list, being listed for only 2 hours in 1969.
He should have taken some tips from the Victor guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you eluded capture for 32 years, and this guy got caught in 2 hours. You're apparently not very good at your job.
No, he's not good at his
really
job. Really
crappy criminal. Come on.
The oldest person to be added to the list was Eugene Palmer on May 29th of 2019 at 80 years old.
Jeez.
Yep.
80?
Yep.
Like, let the guy go.
I know.
Unless he, killed children or something.
He might have.
That's just a good point.
On rare occasions, the FBI will add a number 11 if that individual is extremely dangerous, but the Bureau does not feel any of the current 10 should be removed.
That's such a cop-out.
Yeah.
There's only a top 10. You can't keep rolling, extra numbers on the bottom.
Like adding Supreme Court justices.
I mean, yeah.
Nah, you shouldn't be doing that either.
No.
We're
looking at you, Biden.
He hasn't done it yet. Despite occasional references in the media, the FBI does not rank their list. No suspect is considered number one on the FBI's most wanted list, or the most wanted, right? Which was news to me. I thought it was a list. Like, this guy's number one on the list. No, he's just the first person added. So,
okay. So it's not based on importance.
Yep.
It's just you're on the list.
Yep. This is the list of the most wanted people, but any one individual on that list is not wanted more than the other one. They're all equal. They're all equal on the list.
Oh, jeez.
The list is commonly posted in public places, such as post offices. Some people on the list have turned themselves in. On May 18th of 1996, after surrendering at the U.S. Embassy in Guatemala City, Leslie Rogue became the first person on the FBI 10 most wanted fugitives list to be apprehended due to the internet. The FBI maintains other lists of individuals, including FBI's most wanted terrorists, along with crime alerts, missing persons, and other fugitive lists. On June 17th of 2013, the list reached a cumulative total of 500 fugitives having been listed. And as of July 20th, 2022, 528 fugitives had been listed, 11 of them women, and 492 of them were captured or located. 163 of them were due to public assistance. So, interesting. So here's our...
see, the list is working.
The list starting in the year...
Or people are just dying.
Well, yeah, both.
Well, I guess it said they captured 492 of them. That's pretty impressive.
It is.
Out of 528.
And really, 31% of them were captured due to public's help because of the list. So
right.
It's pretty awesome.
Had they had a TV show instead of America's Most Wanted.
Right. So this list is going to be just the fugitives that were placed on the list in 1950, the year the list started. So first one, Thomas James Holden.
And he was with the Holden Keaton gang, correct?
Right. Yep. And they were a bank robbing team.
Oh, okay.
They were led by him and Francis Keating. They're active in Midwest U.S. from 1926 to 1932. Holden was described by a spokesman for the FBI as a menace to every man, woman, and child in America. and was the first fugitive to be officially listed on the 10 most wanted list.
He must have robbed a lot of banks.
Thomas Holden and Francis Keating began robbing payroll deliveries and then train and bank robberies before becoming one of the most notorious hold-up teams by the end of the 20s.
You know, I think train robberies are really interesting.
I think they...
Like more interesting than bank. Like, the effort that you have to take to, like, run the train down, get on the train.
Right, but I think the idea on that is they're out in the middle of BFE.
Oh, true. There's
So-
nobody's going to get to in time,
Yeah,
right?
so
It's
they're-
not like they had cell phones where they could call the cops in, so the train has to dock
Right.
before
Right.
all that happens.
Yep. Said their most successful heist was the 1926 hijacking of a U.S. mail truck at Evergreen Park, Illinois. They escaped with $135,000 in 1926.
Wow.
Yeah. They eluded capture for 2 years before they were finally arrested by federal officers. In the end, Holden and Keaton were both convicted on May 25th, 1928, and each sentenced to 25 years in prison. So, Holden's sent to Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary. Spent 2 years there before escaping on February 28th, 1930. And the two of them were helped by fellow inmate George Machine Gun Kelly, who supplied them with forged passes.
Not to be mistaken with the new Machine Gun Kelly, who is a apparently now a emo singer or something.
Is it what?
He was a rapper,
Oh.
and then he's the big guy that's like is or was dating Megan Fox. I know you're not into like current media anymore.
No.
You're still listening to your 1990s country music
And rock.
and Creed.
Creed.
Only Creed. But
Dude,
anyway, Machine
speaking
Gun.
of Creed, they have been on my Spotify list that I get at the end of the year. You know, that shows they are my most listened to band every year since I've been getting these lists. Every year, I listen to Creed more than anybody else.
I really wish they would just put one album out for you alone, just so you could have something new to listen to.
I'm okay listening to
I
old
mean,
stuff.
I know, but if you had something new, anyway. But yeah, he's a popular guy. Actually, it's probably where he was named after, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think George Machine Gun Kelly is pretty big. I don't know about this other machine gun guy that you're talking about.
Well, initially he got the Machine Gun nickname because of him rapping really fast, but I have a feeling it has a lot to do with this as well because of the gangster reference.
Yeah, okay. Holden and Keaton fled to Chicago, and from there to St. Paul, where they quickly formed a new gang who were recruited from the city's thriving underworld. This gang included Frank Jelly Nash.
I love the nicknames.
Yeah, Jelly. Harvey Bailey and George Kelly. All were career criminals. The gang committed a series of major daylight robberies between 1930 and 1931, during which several minor and one-time members were killed. The gang's first robbery occurred on July 15th, 1930, when they robbed a bank in Minnesota and stole $70,000. Harvey Bailey, George Kelly, and Vernon Miller participated in the robbery, along with at least 4 other men. 3 of these alleged gunmen, Mike Rusick, Frank Weenie Coleman, and Samuel Jew Sammy Stein, were later found shot to death at White Bear Lake. So in this group, you have Weenie and Jew Sammy. These are these guys' nicknames. Okay. Where's Jelly
not
at?
very
Was
PC.
Was Jelly in with this too?
I don't know. We got Machine Gun.
Oh, you
Jelly.
could have Weenie and Jelly.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's a horrible combination.
No,
of food.
not really. Because if you put the jelly in with the barbecue sauce or the mustard, in the crock pot, throw in the little weenies, delicious. So anyway,
A little rough.
Anyway, they were found shot to death at White Bear Lake. Reportedly, this occurred during a dispute with the unstable Vernon Miller. Lawrence Dayval joined the next robbery, which netted $40,000 from a bank in Lincoln, Nebraska on September 9th of 1930. Eddie Bentz joined with the gang in its next two robberies, first stealing $24,000 on September 19th, and then in their most successful heist, stealing $2.6 million in securities from a safe.
You think they would have just stopped there?
Oh, man.
I mean, at that time, the amount of money you got?
The gang immediately went into hiding, but Holden and Keating resurfaced several months later and robbed $58,000 from a pair of bank messengers in Duluth, Minnesota on October 2nd, 1931.
Do you think the bank robbing aspect becomes addictive? Because, like,
I'm sure.
if you get that much money at this, especially at like $2.6 million during this time frame, it's not like they'd ever need more money at that point in time. So
yeah, I think it's the high for them, and one of them talks about it later. Basically saying that it wasn't necessarily the money; it was
just the excitement of it.
That same month, they joined Charlie Harmon and Frank Weber and robbed a bank in Wisconsin, taking away $130,000.
Apparently, it was really easy back then to rob places.
I'm telling you.
I mean, no internet, like you said. Everything's secluded. There's no internet, no phone. No cell phones.
James Kraft, a cashier and son of the bank president, was taken as a hostage during the escape and later was found shot to death outside of the town. The bodies of Harmon and Weber were also found by police, both similarly shot to death and believed at the time to have been killed by their partners for the murder of Kraft. So these dudes kill this guy, right? And the other bad guys are like, you can't kill that guy, and then so they killed him.
Huh.
Yeah. But it's not, they're killing all their partners anyway.
It's like, what's the Joker scene on the Batman movie where he goes in there with a group of guys and he's telling each of them to kill the other guy, and as it whittles down, he's the last guy and shoots the last guy.
This is a thing you have, isn't it?
What?
Where you have to talk about Batman.
I like Batman. It's a good. It is a good reference to this story. Okay.
Okay.
That man brought in a group of 5 people, and he had them kill each other off, so there was less money for each of the other people.
I get it. I'm just saying.
Man, ruining my Batman reference too. Batman.
Okay.
Right, moving on.
So one of the suspects of the holdup, Bob Newborn, later confessed to the robbery and was sentenced to life imprisonment.
Why would you confess?
Who knows? He's an idiot.
You already robbed the bank.
He's an idiot.
So was the other Bob.
Yeah, probably didn't get anything out of it either. A reduced sentence or anything. He's sentenced to life in prison. I mean, why he's... Surely he was.
My guess was his thought was that if he turned himself in, he was going to get a reduced sentence, and it just did not turn out that way.
Or he's just an idiot.
It kind of sounds that way.
Yeah.
I don't even know why. You already robbed a bank and somebody got killed there. I'm pretty sure you're going to jail.
Yeah. After that heist, Holden and Keating joined Alvin Karpus Barker gang. On June 7th, 1932, they joined a gang made up of Karpus, Fred Barker, George Kelly, Harvey Bailey, Lawrence Duval, and, the unstable Vern Miller. And they robbed a bank in Fort Scott, Kansas for $47,000. And says not only did they escape, but Frank Sawyer, Jim Clark, and Ed Davis, who were arrested and convicted of the robbery, did as well.
Which one was the unstable one?
Vern Miller.
What makes him more unstable than the other ones?
I don't know. They just said that. Because he killed the other guys at the beginning because he's unstable.
Oh.
Less than a month later, Keating and Holden were arrested by federal agents while playing golf with Harvey Bailey in Kansas City on July 7th. The fourth robber, Bernard Phillips, slipped away during the confusion but was later killed in New York City. It was reported that he was murdered by Frank Nash and who else but Vern Miller, who suspected that he was an FBI informant.
He just likes to shoot people.
Yeah. Holden and Keating were returned to Leavenworth, where they remained for nearly 2 decades. Holden was paroled on November 28, 1947. 2.5 years later, he killed his wife and 2 of her brothers during a drunken family argument in Chicago on June 6, 1949. In March 1950, Holden was announced as the first fugitive to be listed on the FBI 10 Most Wanted list. 15 months later, on June 23, 1951, Holden was spotted in Beaverton, Oregon by a local resident and acquaintance who had seen his picture in The Oregonian, a local newspaper, on June the 20th. Holden had been living in the area for some time under the name John McAuliffe? I don't know. I would have picked an easier name to say. McAuliffe.
If you pick Smith, it's too obvious, I guess.
He was arrested at his job site where he worked as a plasterer. After being extradited to Chicago, he confessed the murder and was sentenced to life imprisonment. He died in prison 2 years later. Keating returned to St. Paul and lived in...
Wait. He only served 2 years before he died?
Yeah.
How old was he?
Well, this was 1978, I think it was now. Or 1950. And he was born, in the 1890s.
Okay. He's still pretty young then.
Yeah, he was born, Holden was born 1896. So.
And this was 1951?
1951 now, yep.
Okay.
Keating returned to St. Paul and lived in retirement until his death from heart failure on July 25th, 1978. Moving on to number 2 on our list is Morley King. He murdered his wife, Helen King. So, he's a pretty good guy. At least, he wasn't robbing banks, which is kind of uncommon for some of these guys on this list, but he's just murdering his wife.
Yeah. That's all he did?
Well,
I mean, I feel like murdering your wife is terrible, but to get on the list?
What would your list be, Kyle? Is there a certain number? Is there a number? You have to have 27 people you've killed?
No, I feel like, there's multiple murders, especially a day. So it's like, okay, you kill one person and you get put on the FBI's most wanted list.
Maybe somebody at the FBI really hated this guy because he screwed his wife.
Was his wife like somebody's sister? I feel like there was some...
Well, no, but actually, his wife, she was a countess at one point.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
see.
So she was born in 1915 and later became Countess Cristina de Zohib of Portugal. But a year after her marriage, her husband died in combat. So she met Morley in Africa, where she toured as a representative for a dressmaking firm. And soon thereafter, the couple was married in Casablanca, Morocco.
See, so she was important to somebody, so
Yeah.
that's probably why it got pushed.
Yeah.
Because like I'm saying, the fact that she was murdered is terrible,
I don't think that they're... does the FBI really care what people in Portugal think?
Depends on who their connections are.
I don't know, maybe. Maybe.
How many women do you think were killed at this time frame?
For,
And this random guy got put on the list? No, it had to have been because she was important.
yeah, maybe.
We need to dig into this. I want to know.
You dig into that. Dig into that with your space taxi. No?
You just really focus on the space taxi thing.
Okay.
You need to let it go.
The last time Helen was seen alive was June 30th, 1947. And on October 31st, 1951, the FBI arrested the number 2 man while he worked at a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania restaurant under the alias William Wilson. He was sentenced to life in prison for strangulation of his wife, who was found in the trunk of the motel bedroom. Number 3 on the list is William Nesbitt. He had been apprehended at Oklahoma City, Oklahoma on February 26, 1937 for murder, having blown up an accomplice in a massive black powder explosion and trying to kill another accomplice after beating her in the head with a hammer during a fight while stealing dynamite to make nitroglycerin on December 31st of 1936.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he's
This guy's crazy. Like, he should be on the list.
The first guy, he strangled his wife.
In conjunction, well, let me make this clear.
Yes.
I am not downplaying the murdering of the last guy's wife in any... I will throw something across this room. At all. Like, I understand.
No, I get what you're saying.
But, like, you compare that, the murdering of, like, his wife to all these other people. That's like comparing, like, a mass murderer versus somebody who had a traffic ticket in this point.
Currently into this story. Mm-hmm. All this guy has done is tried to kill one person and then did kill another person.
No, he stole dynamite, blew up somebody else.
Yeah, that's where he was.
Blown up an accomplice in a massive black. Yeah, I mean, this guy's like he's getting. I mean, what do you think he's getting dynamite for? Like he's clearly planning something. He's not like he's not
likes
going
the
fishing.
sound.
He's not
likes
going
the
no,
sound.
No, he is not going fishing like Crocodile Dundee. Okay, throwing dynamite into the water. Like he's planning to like.
So you're saying your number to be on the list is you have to kill one person, try to kill another person, and steal dynamite, and that's what puts you on the list.
I'm saying it has to be something where it's like you're trying to affect like a bunch of people,
or is it just the beating of her in the head with the hammer? Is that what does?
Well, I mean, that sounded a little unstable.
Yeah.
I mean, the other guy. Yeah, I mean,
just strangled her.
Dude definitely should have been in jail for life, or hung, or whatever was at the time frame, I guess.
Let's see.
Don't you blink your eyes at me? They used to hang people.
Following, following the December 22nd.
And look, he strangled his wife. They should give him what he got anyway.
What do you mean?
I've always believed that like if you murder somebody and they give you the death penalty.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
You should get punished the same way that you get.
Yeah, I get you. Yep. So anyway, this dude was convicted and sentenced on May 28th, 1937 to life imprisonment, which on February 18th, 1946 was commuted to 20 years incarceration. Imprisoned in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, he eventually became a trustee and the personal chauffeur of the warden. Nothing bad can happen out of that.
Not at all.
On,
Let's give the man that murdered people and wants dynamite a car.
Yes. On September 4th, 1946, he failed to return from running errands.
Shocker.
And on December 26th of 1946, he was charged with unlawful flight to avoid confinement.
The Shawshank Redemption, they did the same thing in that movie.
Yes.
They like took some of the old people and were like having them chauffeur them around as
Yep.
prisoners. And I'm like, I don't understand what your plan is. And this guy doesn't seem like he was even that old at the time.
All right. Nesbitt was arrested on March 18th, 1950 in St. Paul, Minnesota by local police after being recognized by some boys as Ray, a man who lived in a cave near the river. Nesbitt died at a hospital in Sioux City, Iowa on August 6, 1983. He had been suffering from long illness prior to his death.
You'd have thought he would have done something to like disguise himself just a hair.
Right. Well,
And you're living in a cave. Like, you got recognized as the guy that lives in the cave. So you know he's probably dirty.
Yeah. Maybe.
I mean, he's living in a cave.
Oh,
like, how clean could you be?
I don't know. They could have streams. Soap. Doesn't mean he doesn't have soap.
He's probably wearing the same clothes every day.
So if you live in a cave, you can't change your clothes?
There's Crazy Vince living in the cave down by the river.
Number 4 on our list is Henry Randolph Mitchell. Process was dismissed. So it's July 18th, 1958, after the Federal District Court of Jacksonville dropped the bank robbery charge because too much time had passed. What? It was thought that given his inactivity and age, he was most likely deceased.
So they just stopped looking for him?
Yeah. He robbed a FDIC bank in Florida January 21st, 1948, shortly after being released from Florida State Penitentiary.
I see they changed the rules because one of the guys early on, was it the 80-year-old guy that they tossed in jail?
Oh, yeah. Well, he was
still alive, huh?
And he was still committing his crimes, I think.
Oh, okay.
It says his criminal career dated back to 1924, and he had been previously convicted in the states of Kentucky, Georgia, New York, and Florida for crimes including grand larceny, violation of narcotics laws, breaking and entering, and forgery. With the dropping of the bank robbery charge, Mitchell became the first FBI most wanted fugitive to escape both arrest and the top 10 most wanted fugitive list.
All you had to do is be old.
Yep. So, moving on to number 5 is Omar Pinson. He had been sentenced January 1936 to 18 months in Eldora, Iowa State Reformatory on a charge of armed robbery. Then he was sentenced in 1941 to the Missouri State Penitentiary for automobile tampering. Later in 44, he made a trip to Washington State Prison, Walla Walla, Washington, for burglary, from which he was released in 1945. So he's already making his rounds. After killing a Hood River, Oregon police officer during a traffic stop on April 27th of 1947, following a robbery, Omar Pinson was sentenced to life in prison. And he was charged with unlawful flight September 7th, 1949, after he crossed state lines following an escape from prison on May 30th of 49. These prisons were not built that well, I don't think.
Well, no, they're letting people take cars and drive around.
Well, that's true. It's just weird. I mean, how many people have escaped prison?
Even the inventive ways people find to get out of prison, and I mean, even look at something like Alcatraz, where how many escape attempts that they've had there on, and how difficult it was to try and escape from there, and yet people still found ways to get off.
But did they?
I mean,
did they really?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to go into that on another day. I'm actually kind of interested. I know that they say a lot of them could have drowned in the water. Yes. They claim that they're gone.
Froze.
But yeah, I mean, they are quite a ways from land.
Poulsen evaded capture after a shootout with police on January 30th of 1950 at Poulsen, Montana, while burglarizing a hardware store. And he was added to the list March 18th of that year and apprehended on August 28th in Pierre, South Dakota.
He earned his spot.
Yeah, they're not lasting too long, man. This list is really helping them, I'm telling you. Number 6 was Lee Downs. And on June 3rd, 1948, he robbed the Pacific Telephone and Telegraph Company in San Jose, California of $2,000. Fingerprints at the scene led to him being identified. He was added to the list on March 20th of 1950 and was located in a Daytona Beach, Florida trailer park with a cache of weapons, dynamite, and fuses.
I feel like back then, I mean, clearly criminals haven't gotten much smarter. Now they track you on your cell phones, but like you couldn't be smart enough to wear a pair of gloves.
Right. Maybe he didn't care.
I mean, I guess.
He's like, I like doing this. I'm just going to do it. El natural.
I mean, he could have still done it with a pair of gloves.
Not natural, Kyle.
Oh.
You can't have anything on your body if you're being natural.
I see you as a pull-out guy, Justin.
I don't understand.
I'll let our listeners debate that one.
He was returned to San Jose and convicted of robbery, from which he was paroled in 1968. After his parole, he attempted to rob Colombian consulate in San Francisco. A security guard used a crowbar to beat him down before police arrived. So props to that guy. Number 7 on the list, this poor guy.
Well, first off, if I ever have another kid, I'm naming him this.
Crowbar?
No.
Oh.
Orba.
Orba?
Orba.
Why?
This actually might be the worst name I've ever heard.
Oh.
Orba.
I thought you were being serious. I'm
Elmer.
like, that's a horrible name.
Yeah, no. God.
I like Elmer. Makes me think of Elmer Fudd.
Don't get your kid beat up.
Oh, no. I mean, it's a middle name.
Go tell Corbin his name's now Elmer.
I thought his name was something stupid the other day.
Yeah. What was the other name?
Oh, was it? I don't remember.
I'm going to have to think about that now.
So
I said it was either him or Christian to take the name.
Yeah.
Corbin got nominated because he's the youngest.
So, Orba, he only made it 2 days on the list.
Orba? Yeah, with a name like Orba, I would...
He was sentenced to 6 years at Missouri State Penitentiary at Jefferson City, Missouri in 1924 on a charge of grand larceny of an automobile in Joplin, Missouri. Released from prison in 28. Sentenced again in 28 for car theft for 3 years at U.S. Penitentiary at Leavenworth.
Okay. I take back everything I said earlier. The guy that murdered his wife was worse than this guy. They put a guy on here for car theft. That's pathetic. This is a release. No, it's a sad list. That's not good.
All right. Let's see. He beat a man and robbed a store, also serving as the U.S. Post Office, which probably hurts him a little bit.
Make it a federal crime, then, I guess.
Near Poplar Bluff, Missouri. He had been convicted April 8th of 1936 and returned to Leavenworth.
He was serving as a post office. What?
What are you talking about?
Robbed a store. Also, okay, he robbed it.
The store and the post office were the same building.
It was conjoined.
basically,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, that makes more sense. I was like, what would he possibly steal from the post office?
Yeah, stamps.
Give me all your stamps.
Which, honestly, gosh dang, I know everything's going up in price, but my goodness. I think I remember, paying like 25 cents a stamp, and now it's like 81 cents or something silly.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know, it's like 25 years
how many
later,
actual letters are you still mailing out?
I send out a letter.
Are you a pen pal guy?
I send out a letter here and there.
To who? I haven't got, because if so, I haven't got a damn letter
Okay,
from you.
I
need some answers.
I pay my trash bill by mail once a year.
Once a year. Man, I'm trying to think. Speaking of, see, this is why I don't use checks though. I hate mailing checks.
Right.
I just went through this with Menards and City Card, where my parents, who refused to come into the internet age of paying their bills online,
Okay.
my mom sent in.
And you know what? God bless them for it.
No, I guess they're supporting the post office.
That's right. If it wasn't for them, stamps would be 95
Yeah, well,
cents.
wait till you hear my story,
Okay.
and you'll see why we don't support the post office anymore.
Okay, let's go.
So, I wrote this check out to Menards to get delivered.
Yes, that's what you do.
Right. And then you mail it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Menards says they didn't get the check in the mail.
Okay.
So, in the meantime, my mom thought the check had cleared and wrote another check out to go to Citibank.
So,
And
whose fault is this really?
the post office. Well, I'm not getting the City Card thing. I'm more concerned about the Menards thing. So, anyway, we call Menards and ask, why haven't you cashed our large check to pay off the card? And they said, well, we don't have it. So we called the bank, and they made us cancel the check. And then the next day, the dipshits from Menards tried to cash my check 6 times.
Huh.
So I had to go to the bank and mess with that. In the meantime, they charged me an extra $400 in interest, and then I had to pay $130 in charges to my account, which I eventually got cut in half. Yeah, so quite the headache all over one. I ended up losing like $500 just because of mailing in a check. And then we did the same thing.
So what you're saying is down with the U.S. Postal Service?
Check
Shut
them.
it all down?
Yeah, fuck them.
All right.
I mean, you don't see Amazon missing.
I was going to tell you that's the other thing that I use. I was trying to think. I'm like, I use stamps for something. Like all
Amazon?
the time, I'm always asking Billy, like, hey, do you have any stamps? And she gets me stamps out of her purse or whatever. It's for my Menards rebates. Yeah, because I got to mail them in.
Yeah, can't you do this online also though?
No, you can't.
See, that's so dirty.
No,
they do that on
is.
purpose.
Yeah,
They do it on purpose.
Absolutely, it's a lot easier to do stuff online.
Well, most of those rebates are like that. They're all a scam where they're trying to get you
No,
to
this
have to
isn't a
mail.
scam.
No, it is a scam. They do that because the percentage of people who actually go home, take the paper, find an envelope, write the address on, put the stamp on, and mail it back are minute in comparison to people that would do it online.
Well,
if you could do it from your phone, the second that you left the store, everybody would claim
It doesn't make it a scam. It makes people lazy.
Well,
and I'm
all
okay.
right, that's fair.
If I see and people do it, I've done it before.
When
they take their receipt and they bought like $3 worth of something, and then they just they don't need the receipt because they bought 2 bottles of pop.
I have an idea.
I take their receipts and I turn it in with my stuff.
This would be an awesome idea for an app. Okay.
I want my 11%.
Hear me out. Hear me out. Okay. You make an app.
Ooh, don't give it away. What if this is amazing and you're telling the whole world?
Are you gonna do it? Well, then we can edit this out after the podcast.
Okay.
Is
All right, go ahead.
So you make an app.
Yes.
That is
mails out people's rebates for them.
No. You make them submit the receipts to you.
Yes.
And then you can handle it, and then you take a percentage off the top of the rebate, and then you can send them the rest of it. But you take the money in.
All right. The only way for this to work is they're going to have to mail that person the receipt.
I don't know.
You got to have the receipt.
I feel like you could figure out some way to do a copy of it. Why couldn't you just make a copy of the receipt?
I don't think so. Maybe. I don't think so, though.
There's no online version of that with Menards?
No, you don't. None at all. The only thing you can do online is track your rebate.
Really?
which is a shitty tracking process. To be
Well,
honest.
yeah, that's awful.
It always works fine when you're sending a rebate for $20, but when you're sending the rebate for $800, it takes them 26 weeks to get it to you.
Speaking of which, this is the other problem with the rebate service. I know we're really getting off topic here, but I've also received rebates from other people through the postal service.
No shit.
Yeah,
I want a rebate from someone else.
I got $100 rebate from somebody else, and
Dude, that's badass. That never happens.
well, I took it back to him because I was like, man,
You're so good.
you know how angry I would be if I had like a $200 rebate coming to me and they mailed it to somebody else, because there's no way to prove you didn't get it. And if they cash it, it's like the problem is they send you the rebate.
I know.
There's nothing on it other than the code. You could literally just take it in, hand it to them, and say,
Right.
pay this. They don't check anything.
Yep.
So anybody could use your rebate. So yes, once again, I don't trust the postal service.
You are so good. So back to
Good.
this.
Now.
Back to this cat here, Orba. So he's back in Leavenworth, right? But he'd been transferred to an honor farm on September 3rd, 1947, and disappeared 3 weeks later.
What exactly is an honor farm?
You know, like where they go out and they work, outdoors or whatever.
This is
Yes, the same. Yes, the same thing. And he took off from there. And he was.
it's like the movie Holes.
Yeah, he was added to the list on March 21st and arrested just 2 days later.
You remember that movie?
I do remember it vaguely. I'm pretty sure that it's one of my wife's favorite movies.
He's got the shy kid before he went crazy.
Yeah, I don't really remember.
He's old nuts now. But anyway, it was a good movie. But basically, it's like a bunch of juveniles, and they're out digging holes in this desert. That's like all they do.
Right. Let's go to number 8 on the list is Glenn Roy Wright. He was a former associate of the Carpus Sparker gang of the 30s. He had a couple of shootouts with police and numerous arrests and convictions. In 1934, he began serving a life sentence at the Oklahoma State Penitentiary. In September of 1948, someone had smuggled a gun into prison, and Wright used it to escape. Weird.
I wonder how the
In
gun
the
got-
butthole.
Yeah,
In
that's where
the
I was, that's where I
butthole.
was going. That's where I was going. Made it up their X-ray game.
He was added to the list, and within 9 months, he was located and returned to prison to serve out his life sentence.
I don't care how flexible you are down there. The pain that would have to be to get that inside.
I really don't know if this gun went in his butthole, but
I'm
could
just-
have went in a cake. Could have been a cake.
You think that cake thing was the little thing?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's 1950s. I don't know.
I still find it hilarious that that's had to have worked at some point in time in history, that somebody actually sent something inside of a cake
Yeah.
and they allowed the cake to come in and gave it to them.
Yep.
Like the pure, obviously now we think of it's obvious, but
Yeah. I don't know. I agree. I think it's kind of neat. I think it's kind of cool. All these guys are escaping from prison.
we need to
I
do we
mean-
need to do an episode related to like escapes on something like this, like the most inventive escapes that they've had.
You mean like your guy that tried to escape his little contraption the other day that strangled him? That guy?
Don't go back to the list. It's all don't. We don't need to go back to that
All right,
list.
all
Okay, we
right.
did it once. We don't need to reference it. It's
You're
terrible.
right. You're right.
But anyway, this list could be good if we could inventive escapes.
Number 9 on our list is Henry Harlan Shelton. He robbed a Michigan bank where a teller wound up dead. He was sentenced to 60 years, and on September 5th, 1949, with the help of a smuggled-in gun, this one came in the butthole, he escaped. By September 17th, he was also wanted for kidnapping and car theft. He robbed a liquor store in Kentucky for $1,100. On March 23rd, 1950, he was added to the list. And by June 23rd, special agents caught up with him at one of his favorite bars in his hometown of Indianapolis. He was
Hey,
wounded.
local guy.
Yeah, he was wounded by the agents as he reached for his .45. He was sentenced to serve 45 years at Leavenworth in addition to his unserved time in Michigan. And I'm going to go into our last one, which is number 10, which is not all of them from 1950. We're going to pick that back up next time. But we're going to finish off the top 10 because we're running out of time. This one is Morris Gurlnick. Gurlnick. Gralnick. What do you think?
Nick.
Okay. So Morris, we're going to call him.
Yeah, we'll stick with Morris.
In April of 1948, Morris had stabbed his former girlfriend and a month later bit off the finger of an arresting officer. So don't fuck with this guy. You get your finger bitten off.
Hope he had his shots.
Gosh dang. On July 11th of that year, he ripped a pipe out of his cell and used it to beat down guards and escape.
I'm kind of questioning their
His
their quarters. Do you think it was a plumbing?
It was plumbing pipe, yeah. And he just, I'm sure it was probably deteriorating a little bit, but he ripped it out. Or maybe he's just really huge guy.
Could be. Maybe he ripped the sink pipe out. I could understand. I could believe that. Drain out. You could hit him with a drain.
Yeah. So anyway, March 24th, 1950, he was added to the list, and after being recognized by a University of Wisconsin student as a worker at the campus clothing store, he was arrested on December 15th of 1950. So there is your top 10.
What do we have? Only one more to go through?
Well, no, there's a few more, but only one that's worth a darn. There was, I think there ended up being, by the end of the first year of 1950, there ended up being 16 people on the list.
Okay.
Because some were added as other ones, fell off.
So maybe they need to quit assigning a number to this and just say the most wanted list.
Could be, but
people pay more. You get up to 16. I feel like you're not really
no.
adhering to your list.
We're not. No, it's not like that. There wasn't 16 people on the list at one time. Just in that year, there ended up being 16 people on the list because other people were caught and they were replaced by other people, right?
All right. Yeah. But you said at one point in time that they did occasionally put an 11th person on there.
And there was an 11th person. Our number 11, I believe this time, was an 11th person that was added.
During this year. Okay.
Yeah. So
gotcha.
But anyway, that's 1950. They go a little bit quicker. Not so much interesting information on some of these other guys, but we'll keep on going on this. I think what we do find on the ones that we have information on, there's some pretty crazy cats out there.
Well, obviously we can't go through every year as far as the list goes, but we could definitely pick out some of the maybe the larger, more well-known.
Right. Well, and I just thought this first year that they started it, there was, why not?
Well, it's also kind of interesting to see the differences between, this time frame versus like a newer list. It's like, okay, well this guy like robbed a train versus, okay, this guy's like, killed 2,000 people in a bombing in New York. It's like a little bit different.
So anyway, we'll pick back up next time with number 11 on the list from 1950. Remember, you can visit our website at wikibros.com to get links, more information regarding this topic. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast and YouTube channel. Follow us on your favorite social media outlets like TikTok and Instagram. Leave a rating. Tell a friend. And remember, Wikipedia runs on donations, so would you consider giving them a couple of bucks? Join us next time for Wikibros. I'm Justin.
This is Kyle.
We'll see you soon.